By now, you've learned how to provide compressions and give breaths to a child with and without a mask. Let's look more closely at using an AED. Even though you may be in the midst of providing CPR, once the AED arrives, use it immediately. It's just one more step in giving the best chance of saving a child's life. Let's go back to our scene with Mr. Smith, Tommy, and Richard at the Nature Center and pick up with just before the AED arrives.
18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Attach pads to patient's bare chest.
17, 18, 19.
This is Richard with the Nature Center. I'm attaching the pads now.
5, 6, 7, 28, 29,
Plug
30.
in pads connector. Analyzing heart rhythm. Do not touch the patient.
Everyone stay clear. Don't touch him.
I can do CPR after the AED analyzes rhythm or anytime you need a break.
Okay.
Shock advised. Charging. Stay clear of patient.
Everyone stay clear.
Deliver shock now. Shock delivered. Begin CPR. Start with compressions.
CPR combined with using an AED provides the best chance of saving a child's life. If possible, use an AED every time you provide CPR. AEDs are safe, accurate, and easy to use. Once you turn on the AED, follow the prompts. The AED will analyze if the child needs a shock and will automatically give one or tell you when to give one. There are many different brands, and although they may differ slightly, the same basic steps apply to all of them. Many AEDs have pads for adults and a child pad cable system or a key. But if there are no child pads, or if there isn't a child key or switch, use the adult pads. Also, if the child is 8 years of age or older, use adult pads. When you put the pads on the chest, make sure they don't touch each other. If a child is very small, you may need to put one pad on the child's chest and the other on the child's back. When in doubt, follow the pictures on the package or pads. If you have access to an AED, use it as quickly as possible. Make sure no one is touching the child just before you push the shock button. If you are alone and no one has responded to help you, don't wait. Start CPR. After about 2 minutes or 5 sets of CPR, phone 911 if no one else has already done so, and get an AED. Following this demonstration, you will have a chance to practice using an AED trainer, just so you can see what it's like. You'll start with your hands in place to give compressions, and the AED will arrive immediately. First, turn on the AED by pushing the on button or opening the lid.
Attach pads to patient's bare chest.
Follow the AED prompts and the pictures on the package or pads.
Plug in pads connector. Analyzing heart rhythm. Do not touch the patient.
Okay, everyone stay clear.
Shock advised. Charging. Stay clear of patient.
Okay, everyone clear.
Deliver shock now. Shock delivered. Begin CPR. Start with compressions.
The DVD will now pause for you to practice with an AED trainer. And don't worry, it can't really give a shock. Now we're going to demonstrate how to put it all together, from scene safety and assessment, to providing compressions and giving breaths, to using an AED. Afterwards, you'll get a chance to practice. As the rescuer, check to make sure the scene is safe, and then say, "The scene is safe." Next, tap and shout and loudly say, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Then shout for help. "Help! I need help!" And ask someone to phone 911 and get an AED. You, phone 911 and get an AED. Then scan the chest for 5 seconds, but no more than 10 seconds, checking for breathing. If the child is not breathing or is only gasping, begin CPR. Tilt the head back and lift the chin and give 2 breaths. Repeat. Now tilt the head back and lift the chin and give 2 breaths. Once the AED arrives, use it immediately. First, turn on the AED by pushing the on button or opening the lid.
Attach pads to patient's bare chest.
Follow the AED prompts and the pictures on the package or pads.
Plug in pads connector. Analyzing heart rhythm. Do not touch the patient.
Okay, everyone stay clear.
Shock advised. Charging. Stay clear of patient.
Okay, everyone clear.
Deliver shock now. Shock delivered. Begin CPR. Start with compressions.
Since you've now had a chance to practice compressions and give breaths, you can see that performing CPR requires intense effort. It can be tiring to keep up the pace. Therefore, if someone else knows CPR, take turns providing CPR about every 2 minutes, even if you're not tired. The best time to change is when the AED is analyzing the rhythm. Let's watch our opening scene again and pay close attention to how Mr. Smith and Richard take turns providing CPR.
I can do CPR after the AED analyzes rhythm or anytime you need a break.
Okay.
Shock advised. Charging. Stay clear of patient.
Everyone stay clear.
Deliver shock now. Shock delivered. Begin CPR. Start with compressions.
As you help each other and take turns providing CPR, it's important to give each other feedback. While you are resting, remind the other rescuer to push down about 2 inches at a rate of 100 to 120 compressions per minute, and to let the chest come back up to its normal position after each compression. This concludes the child CPR AED section of the video. Let's take a look at what you've learned. To provide high-quality CPR for a child, first, assess the need for CPR by making sure the scene is safe. Then assess if the child is responsive. Tap and shout and ask if he's okay. If the child is unresponsive, shout for help. If someone comes, have that person phone 911 and get an AED. Then scan the chest for 5 seconds, but no more than 10 seconds, checking for breathing. If the child is not breathing or is only gasping, he needs CPR. If no one comes to help and you have a cell phone, phone 911 and put it on speaker mode so you can hear the dispatcher's instructions. Begin sets of 30 compressions and 2 breaths. Continue until someone arrives and can help with CPR, or until someone with more advanced training arrives and takes over. If you do not have a cell phone, provide 5 sets of 30 compressions and 2 breaths, then leave to phone 911 and get an AED. Depending on the size of the child, you may use 1 or 2 hands to provide compressions. Push the chest down about 2 inches at a rate of 100 to 120 compressions per minute. It's important for the chest to come back up to its normal position after each compression. You've also learned how to give breaths with and without a mask quickly and effectively without interrupting compressions for more than 10 seconds. The first compressions are the most effective overall, and they become less effective as you get tired. So remember, if another trained person is present, take turns at least every 2 minutes, even if you're not tired. To give a child an even better chance of survival, you've also learned how to use an AED. Some AEDs have child pads, but if there are no child pads, or a child's key or switch, use the adult pads. Also, use adult pads if the child is 8 years of age or older. Use the AED as soon as it arrives. Congratulations on learning CPR and AED use for children. The video will now pause for your instructor to test you on these child CPR AED skills.
Your soccer team's doing great this year. You still enjoying it?
I like it and all, but I'm not as good as some of the other kids.
It takes practice just like anything else. Your mom and I were thinking about sending you to a soccer. Are you choking? I'll help you.
Choking in children is often caused by food blocking the airway. The block in the airway may be mild or severe. If it's mild, the child can make sounds and cough loudly. In this case, stand by and let the child cough. If you're worried about the child's breathing, phone 911. If the block in the airway is severe, the child cannot breathe, talk, or make sounds. The child may also make the choking sign by holding his throat. If this happens, you need to act right away and try to clear the airway. When a child has severe choking, give thrust slightly above the belly button. If the child is smaller, you may have to kneel to get into the correct position. Each thrust pushes air from the lungs like a cough. This can help remove an object blocking the airway. When a child's choking is severe, act quickly and do the following. Are you choking? I'm going to help you. Stand or kneel behind the child and place your arms around the child's waist. With one hand, locate the belly button. Then make a fist with your other hand and place the thumb side of the fist against the child's abdomen, just above the belly button and below the breastbone. Grasp your fist with your other hand and press your fist into the child's abdomen with a quick, forceful upward thrust. Repeat thrusts until the object comes out and the child can speak, cough, or breathe, or becomes unresponsive. If a child is too large for you to wrap your arms around the waist and his choking is severe, put your arms under the child's armpits and your hands on the center of the child's chest. Pull straight back to give thrusts on the chest instead of the abdomen. A child who has been given thrusts should see a healthcare provider as soon as possible. If you give a child thrusts but cannot remove the object blocking the airway, the child will become unresponsive. Watch to see how this might happen and what you should do.
Help me lower him to the ground. Phone 911 and get an AED.
When a child with severe choking becomes unresponsive, lower the child to a firm, flat surface. Shout for help. Phone or have someone else phone 911 and get an AED. If you're alone and you have a cell phone, phone 911 and put it on speaker mode. Provide CPR. After 30 compressions, open the airway and look in the mouth. If you see an object in the mouth, take it out. Give 2 breaths. Repeat giving sets of 30 compressions and 2 breaths, checking the mouth for an object after each set of compressions. After 5 sets of 30 compressions and 2 breaths, if no one has come to help and you do not have a cell phone, leave to phone 911 and get an AED. Use the AED as soon as it is available. Keep providing 30 compressions and 2 breaths, checking the mouth for an object after each set of compressions, until the child starts to respond or until someone with more advanced training arrives and takes over.